What is up, you guys? Welcome to H-Town Takeover, where we cover the pulse of this city, what's going on, all things beautiful in Houston. And today we are with two amazing police officers with the Houston Police Department, Mr. Jesus Robles and Mr. Rafael Pantoja. How y'all doing, gentlemen?
We're doing great. Thank you for the opportunity.
Just awesome.
You guys, stay tuned for this interview. This one's amazing. You guys are both very involved in, PR. What made you guys want to go out there and put yourselves out there like that?
To me, I had spent 11 years in patrol, and I was ready for a change, and I wanted to try something different. I had never spoken publicly or to the media in the past. It was just something that I didn't even know I was going to go into.
Did you have any practice, or you just...
No practice, no training. What I was here for was basically the opportunity to serve the community as a Hispanic liaison.
How about you?
I come from a media background. I've done media basically all of my life. Public affairs, to me, it was a dream to take something that I love and implement it in my job. Now, what makes it so cool and what makes it so easy is the department itself, because the department and the men and women that serve this department actually give you what you need. All we get to do is showcase and say, this is what we got.
So we have two shows that you guys have started, Comunidad y
Confianza.
Confianza, and then Community Shield. Talk to us about those two shows.
Yeah, well, Comunidad Confianza is a radio show that is broadcast in Spanish by the host, Officer Robles, and I. Our former lieutenant, who's now a commander, Rohail Lopez, in South Kistner. That was his vision, and he brought that project over to Chief Acevedo, who allowed us and authorized us to do the project. It was something new. It was something that had never been done in any part of the nation for officers to produce and host a Spanish radio show. It's a risk to give a mic to officers and perform live and to receive live telephone calls from listeners. And I think it was a success. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback from the community, and it's something that we just started. And then the television show, you can tell a little bit about the show.
The television show is basically something that kind of came out of this Comunidad y Confianza initiative, but it went into TV.
And the television show is also on Roku, Amazon Prime, Apple, Apple TV.
Oh, dang, so we can watch you on our own time. That is beautiful. So guys, on Amazon Prime, you guys watch that. What do you feel like has evolved in Houston over the last, 25 years you've been in the force?
The connection between the police and the community. We're one of the first ones to implement community policing principles. We had not only as our chief of police, but as our mayor, Lee Brown. Lee Brown is the father of community policing. He created those principles. Years later, we saw other departments begin to implement those community policing principles. We've always tried to create and maintain good relationships with the community. Our number one ally is the community.
Absolutely. I feel that as far as Houston police, we're probably the most diverse group of police force in all of the country. Over the past year, there's been a lot of stuff with police brutality, Black Lives Matter. I've never felt personally that was an issue down here. Talk to us about if you guys had to deal with any challenges with that.
The reason why you didn't see what we saw in other cities, it's because of the fact that we have liaisons for different communities. I, for example, am the liaison for the Hispanic community. We have a liaison to the African American community, the Jewish, the Muslim, the Indian, the Asian, and the LGBTQ communities. There's a liaison for each community, and our number one job is making sure we connect with that community. Not only when things are going bad, but also to meet with you when things are going well. That's why very often when there is going to be a protest in front of our building, if it's the Hispanic community, they'll notify me to let me know that they're about to slam us in front of the building out of a courtesy because of the relationship that we've built with them. It's something that just doesn't happen overnight. It takes years to cultivate that type of a relationship, and there are always challenges. There are always problems.
And that's something that even the chiefs, the leadership of the department, they set the tone for all of us. During the marches, during the walks, during the manifestations and all of that, they were in the front with the community leaders, with the stakeholders, and they were doing the marching. Our chief, Art Acevedo, really took that into heart and went out, and he was walking with the community, high-fiving kids, high-fiving the youth, and just walking with them in brotherhood. We understand we're on the same team. We reject bad actions. We reject bad officers. We reject what's not right for the community, and we embrace what's right.
Wow.
And we wanted the community to know that we are with them.
You guys can't see it, but I'm smiling underneath my mask right now because I love everything you guys are saying, and building that relationship with the community is so important, right? And so how do you guys feel like the community has responded with you guys just reaching out and being there?
Well, I think that they're very receptive. They're very receptive to not only us informing them that we're protecting the constitutional right, but they're also receptive and understand that the reason why we're there is to make sure that that everything is peaceful, to make sure that everybody is safe, to make sure that any other organization doesn't come into their protest and hijacks it for their own agenda. Our chiefs always said, as long as there's not a destruction of property, as long as there's not violence, as long as there's no blocking the freeways, they have every right to protest and assemble peacefully.
And that's one thing that we were also very fortunate in the situations where the community themselves noticed that someone was about to act up. They would call them out right there on the spot. They didn't want nothing to do with them, and they separated themselves from them, and they let the police do the job that they needed to do with the people that were causing the distress.
That's beautiful. That is truly beautiful. So when you guys entered the force in Houston, and you guys have been here for such a long time, have things always been like this? Because we've grown significantly in the past even 5 years, right? So how do you guys feel about that?
One of the things that hasn't changed is the fact that we had more officers in 1998 than we do today. So that's something that hasn't changed. I think that's something that we need to address, and they're addressing it with a number of academy classes that they're carrying out every year. But we do see a different era of policing where technology has become our friend. We've been able to do more with fewer officers. Technology trumps over everything. We have patrol cars with a different type of computer, more access to doing things from your patrol car. They've evolved all the way up to body cameras.
And one thing that I've seen, I've had a much shorter career in the last 12 years. I think one of the biggest things that has changed in the department is accountability. With the technology that Officer Rafael Pantoja was mentioning, the cameras, they're very essential. It really tells a story that my report writing can't tell. If anything goes wrong, that camera, that video is going to show the story. It's gonna allow me to be able to walk away from a situation that I'm being accused of something, or at the same time, it keeps me accountable. It makes sure that I'm doing my job to the best of my ability, and that camera gives you accountability.
Day to day, how many times does an average civilian get to have an encounter with a police officer? Not many, right? So for us to, hear that, see that, that's beautiful. And so one of the things I notice is both you gentlemen, very calm, collected individuals, right? And I love that. And so one of the questions that I had was, how important is mindset? What do you guys do to practice that, to be able to have the patience to handle all the different situations you guys are able to handle?
Yeah, well, the key to that is training and repetitions. Develops muscle memory. Putting yourself in high stress situations, whether it's training or whether it's real life, you learn to remain calm, because that's the only way you're going to make the right decisions, or the closest decisions to what should be right. But underneath this uniform, we're all human beings, and anybody's capable of making a mistake. The more repetitions you do, the better you get at it. And I think that the perfect organization doesn't exist, but I do realize and I do understand why it's a lot more sensitive when individuals in police departments make mistakes or abuse authority. And that is because we're one of the only organizations, professions in the entire planet that have two important authorities. One of them is the right to use lethal force when needed, and the other one is the right to take someone's liberty through arrest. So when someone makes a mistake or turns corrupt or abuses his or her authority, that's why it becomes a lot more sensitive in the media, because we are expected to act at a higher level, higher standard. I can guarantee you that the majority of people in the department, although there are cases of corruption or abuse of authority, the majority of the men and women of police departments around the world do carry out their duty with a high level of integrity, ethics, and morals.
In the same lines, when we enter into a police academy, when we get asked, why is it that you want to be a police officer? Number one answer, by far, hands down, is I want to help people. So, the humanity of each person is to help one another, right? To be there for one another. And that's what keeps me calm. I know that the people that we are serving out there are human beings, or people just like you and me. So you have to be real. You have to be true to the community. And you have to keep a level of professionalism that you are expected to be. You're gonna find somebody, you're gonna meet somebody at their lowest point, and you might change somebody's life that day. Even in moments of stress and moments of chaos, that you could be that light in the middle of the darkness that people need so much out there. And hopefully, in the moment of stress, in the moment when it's needed, that you're able to shine through that light where it's needed.
I'll be honest, I didn't expect to hear an answer like that. That's amazing, because I mean, when the people that are leading us and taking care of us are operating with the mindset of making an impact and making a difference, I mean, what more of a better feeling could we have, you know, putting our lives as civilians into y'all's hands? So that's absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna shift the focus just a little bit, right? Let's go back to the city of Houston. What things have you guys seen change that you guys love?
Well, I think that Mayor Celeste Turner, who's a very receptive and welcoming mayor to all immigrants and refugees and people from all over the world, we're the most diverse city ethnically in the entire nation, where there are over 150 languages that are spoken. In one high school alone, there are 100 languages spoken. We have over 90 consulates. So we're a very, very diverse city. So we're very, very fortunate to have a mayor and a chief of police who are very welcoming to everybody.
I love from the city. I look at it from somewhat of a different perspective. I grew up here as a child, and I had the chance to use the public transportation system as a 9-year-old, a 7-year-old, all by myself. Transport myself to different sectors of the city. I was a wanderer. I always wanted to learn, and I wanted to learn where every fire station was in the city of Houston. So I took it upon myself to visit every firehouse in the city of Houston since I was a child and take pictures of the fire trucks and the fire department. Visit not only active fire stations, but visit retired firehouses. I looked at Houston as my place of exploration. I would go from the east side, deep east side, Hobby Airport area, all the way to Gessner and Little York on the bus by myself. And this was with a goal to explore, to see what the city of Houston was. I like my comida mexicana there in the east side. I have a lot of taquerias, so that was always there. I love my teachers. My dad was my 6th grade teacher. I can put it that way. He's the one that gave me the courage to explore. He's the one that introduced me to Asian food. He introduced me to all kinds of food and rollerblading. He introduced me to rollerblading. So the city of Houston has so much.
Thank you guys so much for your time. We brought you guys some Houston shirts. Thank you guys.
Wow.
Yeah, no, absolutely. This is what we do. So there's one for you, sir. Yes, sir. And I know you like to go running, so
I love jug. Yes, this is it. This is my running shirt right here.
Let's go.
This is how I'm gonna be running.
No, thank you so much for both of y'all being with us. Amazing, amazing, amazing.